All right, good morning, everybody. I'm proud to be here with Governor Cuomo. As you maybe know, we got to know each other about a month ago. We were out fishing for some good ideas and ways that our two states can work together. And we work together, we're a lot stronger and a lot more effective. And coming out of that meeting, Governor Cuomo is unique amongst the political people I've gotten to know. He likes to turn ideas into action, and he likes to do it quickly, and he likes to do it effectively. And he kept pushing as we continued to communicate about how we can act on a lot of the agenda items that we were discussing on Lake Ontario. And that resulted in this meeting today and some ongoing meetings over the next few months. We talked about today things that cross our borders. A state border is sort of an artificial line. We talked briefly about cybersecurity, for example, and public safety, and ways we're going to do joint exercises, and more importantly, prepare for that eventuality. We've talked previously a little bit about joint purchasing and ways that we do this together, we can have some real savings. We talked a little more today in an ongoing conversation when it comes to transportation. We can speed up our transportation system, do what we can to end gridlock, get the rail going in a way that it should be going. But it doesn't work unless if the Metro North goes all the way into Grand Central Station. It can't stop at the border. And Governor Cuomo has been so aggressive and ambitious in upgrading his transportation system there in New York over the last period of time, and the success of the Mario Cuomo Bridge, and the ability to show people that this investment dollars make a difference every day. And he reminded us we're going to need some early successes as we do transportation and give people a vision about where we want to go. And finally, what came up, and we've discussed in some detail, is how we work together state by state, and perhaps with our neighboring states in Rhode Island and New Jersey and beyond, marijuana regulation, and now vaping. The idea that each state does its own thing is a little patchwork of different rules and regulations, different qualities in terms of public safety and public health. Governor Cuomo really has been forceful in saying this is something we want to do together. We want to do it on a timely basis. We don't want to give up marijuana to the black market. We've seen how dangerous that can be. And come up with our public safety regulations and other rules. If we do that together going forward, I think that would be a priority for both of us. I'm really glad to see the close relationship that we have, New York and Connecticut. We're a lot stronger for it, and I appreciate you being here, Governor.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Well, it's my pleasure to be here, and first I want to thank the Governor very much for his hospitality and his entire team preparing for today. I also want to make sure that I communicate how impressed I was with the Governor's proficiency on the water. He had a mastery of nautical affairs rarely seen in an elected official. He was really impressive in advising the captain on how to catch fish, which was, and successful at it. And was very kind, not to mention on our fishing trip that his fish was actually a little bit bigger than my fish. But decorum caused the governor not to mention that. I'm very excited about the relationship with not just the state, but with Governor Lamont. He's here to make things better. And he's willing to take the risk and take the chance to make change, which many elected officials are not willing to do. You know, everybody wants, in theory, in abstract, we want change, we want to improve. Yeah, but they don't want to actually do the work required to make that happen. It's not easy to make change. But the governor obviously brings great intelligence and energy and creativity, and he's about getting it done, and that is the common link between us. These are special opportunities to be in elected office, and the people put trust in you, and our obligation is to do our best every day to maximize that opportunity. And I think we can do more together than we can working alone. And Lord knows we have problems facing us that rise on a daily basis, issues that nobody has thought about before. And it's going to take all of us if we're going to actually make a difference. We don't have frankly, in my opinion, a federal government that is providing leadership on these issues. We're getting out of Washington a lot of confusion and a lot of debate. And basically they're saying to the states, you are on your own. And that's liberating on one level. So if we're on our own, let's hook our boats together and let's see if we can find our way through this storm. The number of issues that face both Connecticut and New York as neighbors, the governor mentioned them, but right up on the top are the transportation issues. Metro North is vital to New York. It's also vital to Connecticut. We're investing in Metro North. We want to make it better. We want to do that with Connecticut. And I think there's a lot of opportunities there in terms of cybersecurity, environmental issues, emergency management, which is a whole new field for all of us with storms that we've never seen before, and being able to address those issues that we can do better together. And then the issue of marijuana and legalizing marijuana and vaping, which the vaping issue is real and it's frightening. You have hundreds of people all across this country who've gotten ill. We have about 100 people in New York State. You have young people who are dying. And you have young people who are getting addicted to nicotine and they don't even know what they're doing. They were sold this product, vaping, it's safe, it's fine, and everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. It must be fine. All the cool kids are doing it. Yeah, now you have kids who are 12, 13, 14 years old who are vaping. At best, they're getting addicted to nicotine. At worst, they're putting a substance in their body that can kill them. So what do we do about that? The federal government is doing nothing. What can we do? And what can we do together? Because it makes no sense to pass one set of rules in New York when they can just drive across the border to Connecticut and have a different set of rules and vice versa. And with that issue is the legal of marijuana for recreational use, legalization, which poses the same constellation of issues. How old could the person be to purchase? What's the THC content? What's the taxation rate? What form does the THC get sold in? How do you make sure it doesn't get to young people? How do you make sure the police force is ready to enforce these laws and trained to enforce these laws? So in concept, many people agree on the legalization of recreational marijuana, but like in many cases, the devil is going to be in the details. And how you do it will determine the success of the program. And doing that collectively and regionally makes sense. And we're going to have a meeting October 17th where we put together regional partners and try to talk that through. My goal is to have a proposal by January that I can make in my state of the state to my New York State legislature. And hopefully we can come up with some common premises for the program. We won't agree on everything. We're not supposed to. We're supposed to represent the people of our respective states. But the conversation is always good. The discussion is always good. And I believe we're going to find many common paths to a better future. But I want to thank the governor and his team very much for the hospitality again. Thank you.
Stop.
Well, there are, in New York, we also have, let's call them ancillary issues that get connected to the legalization issue. And depending on the political subdivision you're talking about, an ancillary issue can be expungement. Ancillary issue can be what will you do with the funding that you raise from the taxes. So it triggers side conversations, if you will. But those are side conversations, and I'm sure Connecticut has its own, and New York will have its own, and New Jersey will have its own. I think if we focus on the core program, what would a legalization of recreational marijuana system look like? What are the rules and regulations of that system? And how do we police it? And are we prepared to do that? I think that's the mission for this discussion. And then you'll have local political sidebar discussions, I'm sure, in all of our states.
Have you considered what Governor Baker has done in Massachusetts, banning the sale of vaping products for 2 months just to see what's going on?
Yeah, I banned in New York the sale of flavored e-cigarettes and vaping products. If you look at one of the problems is the law says no one under 21 years old is supposed to vape. It's 18 now in New York, it's going to 21. Obviously, stores are selling these vaping products to kids. Estimates are 40% of high school students are now vaping. I mean, it's extraordinary. So the kids are getting them. It's also true that they are being marketed to children. And part of it is the flavors of the vaping and the e-cigarettes. Scooby-Doo, bubble gum, cotton candy. They are targeting children as a market. Incidentally, cigarette manufacturers cannot do that by law. They cannot market to children. We had that battle and we won. Cigarette companies, by federal action in 2009, can only sell tobacco-flavored cigarettes or menthol-flavored cigarettes. You can't have flavored cigarettes precisely for this reason. So the vaping companies have gotten around all of that. So we banned all flavored vaping products.
Governor Lamont, do you think Connecticut missed an opportunity to ban flavored vaping products earlier this year when you guys raised the age? You had the opportunity here, and it was not...
One of the first bills we passed was making sure that we raise the age to 21 for tobacco products and vaping. If we think the heart of the problem right now, and especially comes to the flavored vaping, is they're targeting young people, and high school kids are more likely to be doing it before, we've banned it. That goes into effect next week. Renee has gone out and her team in public health to each and every one of the stores. They know what the rules and regulations are, ID. We're going to be very strict about that. And we've gone even further than that. If somebody tries to buy this stuff, online, delivered, somebody over the age of 21 signs it and has to show ID. So we've been very strong. That goes into effect next week. I'm going to work with Governor Cuomo going further now in terms of what we want to do with flavored vaping products for the population at large, and I think it's something we're going to be doing together.
Do you think the CDC is at fault in any way? Moses Laura feels that they let this product be marketed before testing was done, so the cat is out of the bag, and it's very hard to fix that.
Well, I'll leave it to the Congress to comment on the CDC. Do I believe there are dangerous products circulating? Yes. Vaping itself has not been, we have no tests on the long-term consequences of vaping because we don't have long-term experience with vaping. What is the experience after 10 years of inhaling warm steam with tobacco deep into your lungs? Nobody can tell you that because we just haven't had the experience. They do test some of the vaping products, but what the vaping companies will say is it's the black market products which are tested, have no testing. They are illegal substances, but they are sold here and connect to the vaping devices. That's why I don't preclude or exculpate the vaping companies, because it's very often their device that the counterfeit product will plug into, right? But there's no doubt that the black market is where the predominance of the health issues have come from.
Governor Lamont, are you considering a ban via executive order, whether it's a partial ban or a total ban on vaping products?
I don't know what I can do by executive order, but I'm going to be very strong doing it forward, at least get something in the bill before the legislature as soon as we can. Whether you ban all vaping products or whether that leads more people to the black market, the illegal stuff that is even more dangerous, I want to do a little more research on this. It's still early.
Governor Lamont, can I follow that? We have been of our Medicaid budget. If you want to do a regional strategy in New York, are you going to have to, quite frankly, expand what we spend on vaping and tobacco cessation?
Look, I think we will. I mean, I know that over the last 10 years, we've been siphoning off some of the money that's supposed to go to tobacco cessation to other things. That's going to stop.
Did you guys talk about tolls today?
As you move
Did tolls come
forward
up
with
today?
this, finding common premises for the recreational marijuana program, what are 2 or 3 areas where you think you'll be able to find common ground very quickly?
A couple of the issues that will come to the top of the list when you start to talk about legalization. What age are you thinking about? What is the THC content that you are allowing? What is the tax rate that you're going to charge? So literally people don't shop forums by the tax rate. What substances are you going to allow to be sold? What precautions on those substances to make sure children don't inadvertently get their hands on them? What proof of age will these distribution sites have? What police training do you need, if any, to make sure the police force is ready for a potential stops on driving while under the influence of marijuana, other drugs, which they obviously handle now, but can we have more training and more specialization? I think those would be some of the top issues.
Kind of late to the game, though. I mean, you have a common border with Massachusetts as well. They're already doing it. They've been up and running for a while.
We're going to do it right, Mark. I mean,
Keeping the tax lower.
the governor pointed out that when Colorado did it, they've had to change that law a number of times. I think Massachusetts would like to do this. We'll get Charlie Baker as part of this conversation. I think we want to do it on a very thoughtful basis. But to reinforce what the governor said, for me, safety and public health in a carefully regulated market, to make sure we don't surrender this market to the black market, but it's something we do with safety as a paramount concern, is going to make sure that we have that in common with all of our regional states.
The relationship between New York and Connecticut, what makes it special and why is this partnership necessary? And can you talk a little bit about tolls? Did that come up in your meeting today?
Why would Connecticut and New York work together? Is that the essence of your question?
What makes this partnership?
Why wouldn't New York and Connecticut work together? We are neighbors. We have the same problems. We have a common border. We're better together than we are separate. It makes all the sense in the world for us to work together. It would be absurd not to, frankly. If governors didn't work together in neighboring states, I think you'd be fair to question why not, because it's such an obvious benefit to both. We did not discuss tolls.
If it's so obvious, Governor Cuomo, why hasn't it happened before? You mentioned the reaction to the current presidential administration, but what is it about the current state of the personalities or the politics to make this possible or advisable now?
Well, New York has always cooperated with Connecticut even before my governorship. The two states have always had a good relationship. I think I've been in an elected office a number of years. I've been in the federal government. I've been in local government. I've been in state government. I have never seen a period of time where society faced more difficult issues with more rapidity and with less intelligent federal response. I believe it's up to the states. I believe that. I believe we're going to get very little help from the federal government. And that's not a partisan comment. You can blame whoever you want to blame. From a governor's point of view, the undeniable bottom line is you're getting very little assistance from the federal government. So you are on your own. And to the extent states can work together, we need to work together. We need the thinking, we need the collective action, because none of us have been here before. I don't think this country has ever been in this position before. And as an elected representative, you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to do your best for your people at that time. And that's what today is all about. Thank you.
Let me just add to that question, if I could, that, look, the states are stepping in and filling a void left by the federal government. And that's why we're taking the lead on a lot of these different issues. I think more importantly, I am proud that Connecticut is part of the greater, New York City ecosystem. New York City is the global capital of the world, and we're a part of that. And the more we work together, be it transportation and these other things, the better it is for Connecticut, and I think the better it is for our region, including New York. And this is something I want to build upon every day. And yes, we talked about transportation, we talked about funding of transportation, but more importantly, we talked about how we are part of a global thing that's going to work together, and we're much stronger for it. Now, I'm a little embarrassed, by the way, because when I went fishing with Governor Cuomo, he gave me a beautiful hand-done
It was a beauty. It was a beauty.
rod that was embossed and the such, and they gave me, as a return gift to show him, to exemplify our speeding up of our permitting process, Governor. Here you are from DEEP, a fishing license made out to you so you can come anytime you want to the great state of Connecticut and catch an even bigger trout.
A beautiful mounted fishing license. Convenient.
Can't beat that.
Oh, no, it's always easy to handle. When you go fishing, you just attach it to your...
We're on a debt diet. Governor, great to see you. Thanks for being
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You even got a tie, but that's not worth talking about.